you could have cases where you measure how much of the request comes in for a particular person, and then you can decide to flag that. Is this person doing more than what they usually would do? If that is the case, then you flag it.
Hey, welcome to the FinTech Frontlines by Cora. This podcast is a collection of timeless ideas on how to build, launch, and operate a fintech in Africa from the most experienced minds in African fintech. In this episode, Emmanuel Opara, the engineering lead at Kuda Business, talks about how startups can protect themselves from third-party vulnerabilities when they integrate with other platforms. While businesses can control third-party systems, they can implement processes to reduce their exposure to associated risks.
Within your engineering team, how do you manage third-party integrations to avoid any kind of third-party vulnerability?
So basically, when you have to integrate to a system with a third party, one of the things that you look into is your own standard, right? So as a company, you basically we have definitely a security team, and there are things that are being looked into, right? Things around your minimum requirements when it comes to security, right? These things are very critical when it comes to integrations, right? And especially coming from a fintech space, right? How sensitive it is if you don't put in enough attention into your security scheme. Primarily, we usually check this, right? So if I'm going to integrate to a company for whatever the service would be, right? There has to be this check where the control team, member of the control team, can actually vet to say, okay, yes, we're good to integrate to this, or no, we're not good to integrate to that. And then, of course, there's an audit team, which basically ensures that whatever you do in respect to your application, be it integration or whatnot, everything is being checked. Things around, maybe you have a VPN, things around, you need to whitelist an IP, things around, say, some of the structure of the data when it comes to some sense things that identifies someone or user, right? So some of these checks you want actually put in place before you decide to go ahead to carry out such integrations. Again, you cannot control a third-party system. The best you can do is to ensure that while you exchange communication with these systems, you basically are protecting your own edge. That's what you basically pay more attention to, because first, you've covered the case where the mode of communication is tight. And the next thing is basically around your own internal processes. How do the systems that your users connect to, that basically communicates to that third-party system, how did you build the system? How do you authorize transactions? If someone is exploiting that third-party system, how do you prevent that from impacting your own users? And like I said, because we don't really have much control over what happens to a third party, and then maybe I can actually give like a use case. So let's say someone from bank A to my bank, for instance, someone does a fraudulent inward transaction. It gets to you. You can't really tell if this transaction is fraudulent or not, right? Until it is being reported, for instance. Now, you could have cases where you measure how much of the request comes in for a particular person, and then you can decide to flag that. Is this person doing more than what they usually would do? If that is the case, then you flag it. So things around that are things that and this is me speaking about internal processes, because you cannot really manage an external dependency or a third party. And the summary of it is protecting your internal system and also ensuring that your mode of communication with these third parties is meeting your organizational security standard.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the FinTech Frontlines. For businesses that are bullish on Africa, Cora provides all the support you need to start and scale with delightful payment products for collections, payouts, and settlements. Learn more at corahq.com.